All right, we're right back with you now, and we had a little technical break there that we had to take, but we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Several thousand people showed up this week. To give you a rundown in a few moments of what has happened this week, I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But that's why we're here, Operation American Spring 2014. Now, we left L.A. at Union Station, came Union Station all the way across the nation with a Patriots prayer trip, making 49 stops and making the last stop in Union Station there and here in Washington, D.C. Now, as we came across, we said, we're not coming to overthrow anything. What we're doing is coming to establish, and we filed with the United States Congress, the 113th Congress of the United States, we filed demands and grievances on record and articles of impeachment for the 7 people in upper leadership role, beginning with Barry Soetoro, also known as Barack Hussein Obama. Now, with that in mind, we have filed those papers with the United States Congress, both the House and the Senate, and we have filed those electronically, by email, and by mail, certified mail. Now, we also today delivered, hand-carried packets of those demands and articles of impeachment into the offices of the senators and the representatives in the Congress. I have put mine in there, others have put theirs in there, and so these articles of impeachment and these demands and grievances have been literally filed and electronically and legally filed with the 113th Congress of the United States of America. And they must act on them. I don't know what they'll do, but they must act. They have been entered in properly. We're not here as a group to take over, but we are here to demand that our grievances be met and that impeachment take place and that removal of the top 7 people in our government be removed and they be replaced. We have also demanded to the United States Congress that they establish a new president, a new vice president, and on down the line, the other offices there in the 7 top offices. And we have demanded that as citizens of the United States and as people, men and women, demanding that the Congress must react one way or the other. And so we'll see what happens in the days ahead. In the meantime, we did begin our effort on the 16th day, called May Day, on the 16th day of May, and we had a great time there. We did a prayer meeting early in the morning, and we did other rallies and other things on that Friday. Then on Saturday, we had other rallies and other events, and then on Sunday, we marched over to the White House. A large group marched to the White House, made a U-turn in front of the White House, and literally turned around and faced our backs to the White House with a sign that said, "You turned your back on the Benghazi 4. We're turning our back on you." This is another one of those examples of the illegality of Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Hussein Obama, and Eric Holder and others. They turned their back on those 4. Now, many of you have heard that Mr. Obama and Mrs. Clinton said initially that the reason for the Benghazi attack was because of a video that was shown, and that video was written and produced by a man by the name of Nakula Nakula. Now, remember that name. They said the video put out by Nakula Nakula was the reason for Benghazi. And then later, they both, Obama and Mrs. Clinton, agreed and admitted that it was not because of the video, and it was because Al-Qaeda attacked our consulate there in Benghazi. And they apologized and said they were sorry for the deaths of those 4 American citizens in Benghazi. But what they neglected to tell you is that the reason for that was simply this. The Muslim Brotherhood, who Barack Hussein Obama is very favored of, said to him, you must release the blind sheikh Muslim, who blew up the first tower in America, was found guilty of it, and was put in prison for it. And Mr. Obama was being forced to release that blind sheikh. But Mr. Obama said, I cannot do that because he's already been found guilty, and I'll get in trouble with the American people if I do that. And so there was a plan hatched that they would go into that consulate. It wasn't an embassy, by the way, it was only a consulate. They went into that consulate to kidnap Chris Stevens. They did indeed kidnap Chris Stevens, but the Navy SEALs killed, in the process, 70-some-odd Al-Qaeda Muslim fighters, and they all became very angry, and as they kidnapped Chris Stevens, drug him through the streets, unfortunately, they killed him, and when that all happened, they literally blew up that consulate because they were angry that their people had been killed, and so they blew up that consulate, killing everybody involved, and therefore killing 4 American citizens. The President and Mrs. Clinton turned their backs. We have evidence recently released, emails, where they were being asked for support. They were being asked for other Navy SEALs to be brought in. They were being asked for support. And Mr. Clinton and Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama refused. They turned their backs and did nothing to defend that consulate, did nothing. And even further than that, the President of the United States went on later to say to the families of those 4, we will do everything to bring those murderers to justice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the reason we are against Barack Hussein Obama is because over a year ago, he said to those families, we will find who killed your sons. He has not done that. That's over a year ago, and not only has he not done that, but there's been absolutely no arrest and no real investigation into what happened. The information that I just gave you is private investigation by yours truly, Wiley Drake, and others that have done this investigation and brought forth the evidence. Now, with that in mind, I used a name a while ago that I told you should remember. That is Nakula Basila Nakula. Nakula Basila Nakula, excuse me, Nakula. But Nakula Basila Nakula was the man who was accused of writing and publishing that video. And he is guilty. He did that. It was a very anti-Muslim video. But it was the absolute truth about the Muslim religion. And he wrote that video, and they were mad at him. And Clinton and Obama said that was why the attacks happened. Later they said, no, it wasn't. They put Mr. Nakula in prison, put him in a halfway house, and there's been a lot of leading and a lot of information in the media, Glenn Beck and otherwise, that said he's still in prison. Well, I got news for you, folks. This program, The Wiley Drake Show, tells you the truth. And right now, at the hour of 5:45 in Los Angeles County, 5:45 in Buena Park, California, at my homeless shelter, Mr. Nakula Basila Nakula is a resident of that shelter. He is under the protection of the First Southern Baptist Church of Buena Park, and he is under the prayer guidance of the First Southern Baptist Church, and he is there because the State Department released him. And recently, when they put him there, they put an electronic bracelet around his ankle so that they could trace him. Now, recently, they've done a couple of things. They also said to him, you cannot use the internet, and you cannot have a cell phone. Well, just before I left on the 11th, it was indicated to us by text message from the State Department that they would allow him now the use of a cell phone, and he could go on the internet. And since I've been gone, they have moved in now and said that they're going to remove, and they have removed, the electronic bracelet from around his ankle. Nakula Basila Nakula is still, though, in our halfway house, if you will, there at the church in Buena Park, California. And we're continuing to minister to him and with him and for him. Now, on Thursday nights every week, we publish a live internet radio program in Arabic language. And the title of the show in Arabic is The Truth. I don't know how to say it in Arabic, but it's in English, it's The Truth. Mr. Nakula Basila Nakula comes on that program at 7 p.m. California time and does a 1-hour live internet broadcast around the world telling the truth. If you would like to watch that program, you simply go to my program, thewileyDrakeShow.com, thewileyDrakeShow.com, and you can watch The Truth in Arabic. The only disadvantage is you cannot listen to it in English because it is not translated. It is all done in Arabic, and the reason for that is not to hide it from English-speaking people, but the reason for that is dealing with the Benghazi affair and dealing with this religion, dealing with this terrible, terrible group of people. In order to be accurate, you cannot change the language. If you put the language, if you put the truth into English, it loses quite a bit in translation, and therefore Nakula Basila Nakula has said no. He would only do it if he could do it in his Arab Coptic language, and we've agreed to that. And so, if you want to hear it, download it, have it translated, that's up to you, whatever you'd like to do. But the bottom line is, you can watch the program, and you can see Nakula Basila Nakula on location. On Thursday night, he'll be on at 7 p.m. Now, we only have about 8 or so minutes left in this program, and before we go off the air, I'm going to give you a little summary and a little synopsis. We've talked about a lot of personal things and a lot of things tonight, but I want to tell you a little synopsis of why this program is on, who I am, and what we do. My name is Wiley Drake, and I have the privilege to serve as the chairman of the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. If you would like to know more about that, you go to this very long website, and all of my young friends tell me I should shorten it and abbreviate it, but until I learn how to do it better, we're going to go with the long form. The long form is Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C.org. Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C.org. If you go to that website right now, you will see our information and our website. Now, if you're listening on the radio or listening to us, you can go to the website to watch this program, either live right now, and when we go off the air at the top of the hour, we will post this in the archives, and you can come back and listen to it later. But my name is Wiley Drake. I'm the chairman of the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. I also have the privilege to serve as the chaplain to Operation American Spring. Do we have a caller on the line with us? Hey, hang on just a minute, Bob. Let me get you on the speakerphone. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm watching you discuss Benghazi and Akula's Thursday night program. You're coming through loud and clear on the West Coast. Been watching the last 40 minutes and coming through loud and clear. Good job.
All right, well, Bobby, thank you so much. Bobby Bible is one of those people that is what I refer to as a deputy prayer warrior. He is a deputy prayer warrior to the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. That means every day he meets with us in prayer. Now, for those of you who would like to join us tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Washington, D.C. time, we will be holding a 2-hour telephonic prayer meeting on the telephone, on the internet, and around the world. I will be on location at 7th Street and the Mall. I'll be down there right across from the Aerospace Museum, there along with Colonel Harry Riley and some other military and ministers and other men, women, boys, and girls who are a part of what we call now OASers, Operation American Spring. And we'll be praying there tomorrow. If you'd like to join us, I'm going to give you a telephone number and an access code that you can call in on. Now, the way you do it is tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock East Coast time. You call this phone number, 712-432-1690. When you call that number, it will ask you to identify yourself and put in your access code. First of all, let me say you do not have to identify yourself. That's just the system asking you, and we do not demand that. But you do have to put the access code in, because that's the only way you can get on the conference call. So call 712-432-1690. Put in your access code 399-430#. And if you're a member of the media or you're a member of the curious public, you can call and listen in. You don't have to say a word. But if you'd like to participate, you're welcome to do so. It's a two-way call. It's wide open, and it'll be open tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for 2 hours. And we would encourage you to join us at that meeting. You can share anything you want to. You can ask questions, and you can share whatever you'd like to share. Brother Bobby Bible comes on quite often. Bobby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing just fine, and thank you, Pastor Wiley, First Southern Baptist. I'm a Baptist also, for representing us and being the boots on the ground. I am just one of the prayers in the air, and I'll see you in the morning like we did this morning. I enjoyed the participation.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, my name's Wiley Drake, and I'm known for some things called Wileyisms. And one of my Wileyisms, for example, is do your best and God will do the rest. There's another Wileyism that I've coined for this Operation American Spring event, and that is we're boots on the ground and prayer in the air. Tomorrow morning, I'll be boots on the ground down on the Mall here in Washington. Boots on the ground. Bobby will be in California, and other people across our nation will be prayer in the air. And their prayer, speaking of in the air, we have a helicopter going over. And I'll not try to compete with that. But
Lord, we just pray for protection for Wiley and all that they do. Bless them, be with them in the 2 Chronicles 7:14 revival, much needed in America, in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Brother Bobby, and thank you for reminding me of that. Ladies and gentlemen, the reference in the Bible that Bobby's referring to that is our watch guide is 2 Chronicles 7:14. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, and this is a description of what Operation American Spring is all about, but that scripture, 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. Ladies and gentlemen, I would encourage you to check out OAS. We don't raise any money. We don't have a donate button. We don't ask you for money. We just ask you to be a part of it and join us. Now, if you're just curious and want to find out, go to OAS2014.com. OAS2014.com, and you'll find out other information, all you'd like to find out there about it. We only have about 4 minutes. If you'd like to call us, Bobby, good night and have a great night.
See you in the morning. God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the phone line is open now, and we have about 5 or 6 minutes, and because we had a long caller there, I will not necessarily have to go off right on time, but if somebody calls, we do not screen our calls. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. If you call me on this phone number, I will answer it. I will answer that call on 202-747-4839. Now, I want to give you an announcement, an advertisement for something coming up on July the 4th. On July the 4th, thousands of Americans will meet in the largest killing field in the world, Gettysburg. Gettysburg was where more than 6,000 of our young boys died over the racial problem of slavery. And we're going to go there on July the 4th for a racial reconciliation 4th of July picnic. Dr. James David Manning from New York and yours truly, Wiley Drake from Los Angeles, will be there to coordinate this racial reconciliation 4th of July picnic. We're going to have busloads of people coming in, and we would encourage you to come in with us. If you'd like more information on it, there's a free number you can call and find information on. 877-777-0734. That's 877-777-0734. That's for the racial reconciliation picnic that will be held in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania on July the 4th, the largest killing field in the history of our world, literally, or our nation at least, and we thank you. Join us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Come and join us on the mall at 7th Street, right in front of the Aerospace Museum. And if you want to join us out of curiosity by phone, before we go off the air, I'm going to give you the phone number and the access code, and that phone number and that access code will be open tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, Washington, D.C. time, there on the mall. That phone number is 712-432-1690. 712-432-1690. It will ask you to identify yourself. You don't have to, but you do have to put in your access code, and that is 399-430-pound. Put that in, and you can join us tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. You can just join in and listen. The media is welcome. Anybody is welcome. We don't screen the calls. We're straightforward. We're above board, and we tell the truth, so help us God. Now, with that in mind, we're going to say good night and God bless you, and we encourage you to be on the air with us tomorrow again at 12 noon, but join us at 8 a.m. for the telephonic prayer meeting, and we'll be glad to do that. So God bless you, and thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for being a part of the Wiley Drake Show. Remember, if you want to see the archives, all you do is go to thewileydrakeshow.com. You got to spell Wiley right. It's W-I-L-E-Y, W-I-L-E-Y, thewileydrakeshow.com, and we'll be glad. You can download it. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. We don't ask you for money. We don't raise money. It's all free and absolutely there for you. Join us. Come be with us. Come check us out. Go to OAS2014.com and go and check us out. God bless you and good night.